Hey, what's up? It's Taylor, and in this video, I'm going to show you step by step how I published my first book on Amazon KDP. If you're new to the channel, I'm Taylor the Ecom RN. I started selling on Amazon as well as self-publishing books on Amazon in 2023. I went on to have enough success to leave shift work behind for good, and I want to show you how to do the same. All right, if you've been following along, this is the book we've been talking about. This is one of the first books I published on Amazon KDP, Nursing Mnemonics Coloring Book. This is for nursing students who want to learn memory tricks for nursing school. And as you know, I went on to also create a flashcard set based on this book as well. They make me over $2,000 a month on average. So in my book, that's a success. And today I want to quickly go through my process for self-publishing. Okay, so self-publishing on Amazon KDP. Step one is to do some research. Now we're gonna kind of move past this step today because I already went over the research step in a previous video, but here you can see a few of the things that you're gonna want to research out the gate. The first is probably the niche. This has to do with how well you believe you could rank on the first page on Amazon while still making sure that there is adequate demand for that type of book. So it kind of starts here with niche research. Once you've identified what you think is a profitable niche, then you're gonna look into exactly what you think you would title your book. This has to do with keywords as well as standing out in that niche that you've chosen. This also relates to the cover research. So you're going to look at competitor covers, see what you could do differently, how you could make your design stand out. And then finally, once you've kind of determined these three things, you're going to start researching what exactly you want to put in the book. This has to do with your competitors as well. So for instance, maybe everyone is offering a book on 10 ways to train your puppy. I just got a new puppy, so that's always on my mind. But yeah, let's say there's a book, top 10 ways to train your puppy or something like that. Well, you come up with a book that's the 15 best techniques for training your puppy or something like that. So you've decided to add more to the content of your book in an effort to stand out. That's just kind of the idea. I don't know if that's necessarily one-to-one advice there, but I think you get the idea. You're essentially going to start looking into what you're going to put in the book, both in terms of making it stand out from the competition and to just make sure that you can even write this book. Maybe you do some Google searches and there just isn't that much information out there and you don't know if you can pull off the book idea that you originally had in mind when you did your niche research to begin with. So that's kind of the research step. Today, what we're going to look at is the draft manuscript and the final manuscript, and we might make it to the copywriting, but we might have to save that for another video. Okay, so this is that nursing mnemonics book that we're talking about. And essentially what I did to come up with this book is, one, I already knew some mnemonics related to medicine. I was a EMT and then a paramedic before going to nursing school. So I had learned some handy memory tricks through paramedic school. And I had also obviously gone through nursing school myself. So I knew some handy memory tricks that I still remembered from nursing school myself. But, you know, I wanted to make sure that I was in the ballpark and I wanted to augment the things that I already knew with more information because I wanted to put out, you know, over 100 mnemonics and memory tricks for nursing students. And I didn't think that I had 100 of those just memorized myself. So I just went on Google, I searched for nursing mnemonics, and if you've ever been in nursing school, maybe I don't know, maybe Quizlet isn't a thing anymore, but Quizlet was a big thing when I was in nursing school. So I put in Quizlet there because they have a lot of free flashcards. And sure enough, I just pulled up one of these Quizlets and started going through these flashcards, right? I just started going through, double checking to make sure, hey, does this make sense? Is this actually a good mnemonic? If it was, then I added it to my list. If I thought it was weird or I thought that there was something I could tweak or make better, I would do so and add it to my list. And then I would also be supplementing the list with my own mnemonics that I had known from nursing school myself. So I mentioned adding it to a list, and this is essentially what I did was I just made a Google sheet and I just went through and started putting everything in these columns. So column A was just the actual mnemonic, like what the letters were and whatever that memory trick was. And then I had a header, like what is this memory trick about? So you can see here, head, HEAD, was going to be about right-sided heart failure. So I put that in, then I put whatever information I wanted the student to know about right-sided heart failure here. And then I broke down the actual mnemonics. So you can see there's HEAD for head and then HEAD, each one of those signs or symptoms listed out for the mnemonic itself. Okay, and as you can see, I put together quite a few of these, and I think it was 126 in total. And I also went ahead while I was doing this and started color coding them because I wanted the student to be able to kind of chunk these up into various body systems or themes. And so, I color coded anything that was cardiovascular red and so on and so forth. Trauma, I guess I chose green. I don't really know why I chose that color. But anyways, that's the idea here is I color coded it while I was going, and I just threw in every mnemonic I came across that I thought was handy and legit and added it to this Google Sheet. All right, so that's essentially the draft manuscript. Okay, so nothing fancy here. In this case, it was literally just a Google Sheet. I did it myself. And then what I did was I sent that draft manuscript to a freelancer for the creation of the final manuscript. So I outsourced that. And then this is where the revision process really comes in. This revision process can vary depending on how detailed your book is. Be prepared to go back and forth several times on this. Nobody's going to get it perfectly right on the first try. You're going to be going through and editing their work, making sure there's no spelling mistakes or anything else that's incorrect in the manuscript. But once you're done with that process, you should have the final manuscript. So for example, this is the actual Upwork job that I created to make this book. And you can see I just wrote a freelancer on here about the book idea. I sent them some samples of illustrations. Like these were just things that I saw on the internet that I thought might be helpful. And I asked, can you please send me 3 samples, pick 3 of the mnemonics and send me 3 pages essentially as a sample of your work. And then if I like those, we will move forward. And so she did. She went ahead and sent me those samples back. I thought they were fine. And that's when I started getting into the whole revision process. That's when I went through and, made notes and corrections and let her know what direction I wanted to go moving forward, and we just went from there. So that's how I started working on the final manuscript. Some things that are helpful to specify when you're starting this process is the trim size. So this is how big the book is going to be. So a common size, for instance, is 8.5 by 11, but there are numerous sizes that you can choose from. So just make your pick and then let the freelancer know so that they can kind of size everything and format everything accordingly. Then they're going to want to know the approximate number of pages. This helps them quote you for the job. So let them know how many pages you think the project is going to be in total, and then give any details that you can for basic formatting. This is things just like what is the page layout going to be? Is there going to be a header? Is it just going to be text? Is it going to be aligned left? Is it going to be centered, etc., etc.? All the basic kind of formatting things that go into creating a manuscript. Another handy tip that seems to work well for me is to batch everything. So essentially, instead of having them go through and create all, 126 pages all in a row, I will have them do, say, 10 or 20 pages at a time in this case for this particular type of book. And then I'll go through and edit that portion of the pages that they sent and give them the revisions. They will make the revisions and then they will move forward with the next block or the next chunk of pages as I've decided to do it. So for example, here I said, we're going to do it in 20-page increments. So she sent me, in this case, pages 21 through 40 in this file. I said, okay, cool. But these 5 or so, I had revisions that I wanted to have made. So I sent those back. She revised them. Then, we go back and forth until they're all perfect. And then I go, okay, great. Go ahead with the next batch. And so there it is, 41 through 60. And we just iterate that process over and over until we're done with all the pages. Okay. And then in addition to the actual manuscript pages, like the bulk of the book, in this case, the mnemonics, there are going to be other pages that have to be included in the book as well, right? So for instance, there's going to be a title page. So here is an example of a title page. And I want to draw your attention to a couple things here. One is that the IDSN number down here has been left blank, because I'm going to receive that from Amazon when I upload it. Another thing here is the copyright, and I actually needed to have her change this and put that neat little circle around the C there for the copyright. But essentially, you're going to copyright this book, and once you have it copyrighted, you're going to come back to the freelancer and you're going to have them add in that line. Or if you know you're going to copyright it and you're confident that it's going to go through, you can just ask them to make sure that they add that line here on the cover page as well. Other common elements to books that aren't necessarily included in the main manuscript would be things like a disclaimer in this case, because this has to do with medicine and I didn't want to have any blowback from offering medical advice or anything like that. So I included a disclaimer page. I also included a page, a belongs to page, where the student can write their name in case, somebody else finds the book because they leave it in class. And then I had a page here. Remember, I talked about how there were going to be all these different color coded sections. So this was kind of a page where they could color code themselves how they wanted to break down each section. So I left it kind of blank so they can go ahead and color in whatever color they wanted for each section. And then if you're doing a coloring book in particular, a color test page is a very common page to have in a coloring book. These are essentially just little spots where they can take whatever color they think they're going to draw with, and they can see what it actually looks like on the page and test all their various colored pencils or pens or what have you in these little test swatches. Oh, and before I forget, a table of contents is also usually included in most books. So that's another page you can consider adding to the front matter of your book. Okay, and then once all of that back and forth is done, you're going to ask them to send you the full manuscript as one PDF document. So there it is. You're going to download that. This is what you're going to upload to Copyright. All right, that's it for this video. I hope that was helpful. We didn't make it through the entire list in this video, so stay tuned because I'll be finishing it up in an upcoming video. If you don't want to miss that video, make sure you subscribe. If you like what I'm doing, leave a like or a comment. Let me know what you'd like to see next. If you want one-on-one help, you can reach out to me at the free school community. The link is in the description, and I'll see you in the next video.